जे तू ना फड़दा।
Okay, Guruji. बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji for giving me this opportunity today. I think it's been long due. I was just avoiding because I felt I just couldn't stand in front of Guruji and say something. Um, yeah. So I'll just start with how I got started with Guruji, and probably it was an event that happened in our lives. My younger sister, Sapna, it was 2019, and we had just decided to go to India for Diwali that year, just thinking that we would give everybody a surprise this year. But hardly did I know that there was a surprise waiting for us, and it was rather not a very good surprise. So we made our reservations, and a few days later, my brother-in-law, my younger sister's husband, he calls. It was like around 11 o'clock at night. And, you know, although he's a very, very strong person, but that day when he called, his voice was shaking, his voice was breaking, and he said, Didi, this morning when Sapna was in the shower, she felt she had a lump on the left side of her breast. And immediately, we went to the lab, had an ultrasound done, and she's been diagnosed with breast cancer. So, all that excitement of going to India, I think, turned into anxiety and shock, because that is not what we were scheduled to go for. So it was a very, very shocking news for me. Now, everything changed. I was just looking forward to get to India somehow. And I was talking to my sister every day, talking about what their plans were, where they were going to go to the doctors. So the same day when she was diagnosed, she had to go to a birthday party in the evening. And she did, although she was not like, her normal self, because when you know there is something like cancer looming large upon you, you're not your normal self. But still she managed to go to the party, because then you have to give a lot of answers to people, like why didn't you come and all that. Um, so she went there, but she was like very quiet, sitting in one corner. And her friend, she did, observe that Sapna was not her normal self today. And later on, when the party was over, she asked her, like, is everything okay with you? And Sapna told her that, I think I have a very serious medical condition, and that's why I'm not like feeling like it, but I still came to the party. So this was her friend Shikha, and she tells her, why don't you come with me to Bade Mandir? And Sapna did not know what Bade Mandir was, because, and the most, I feel it's a very, very strange thing that we've been staying in Vasant Kunj for 22 years, and Chhatarpur is like 15 minutes away. We had never heard of Guruji from any of our relatives, friends, acquaintances. We would always cross Chhatarpur while going from Vasant Kunj to Gurgaon or anywhere, nearby. But we had never heard of Guruji ka ashram. So same was with Sapna. She had never heard about Guruji, but she agreed. She said, yeah, I'll come with you. So they planned to go like 2-3 days later. And in the meantime, she also went to, one of those big private hospitals in Gurgaon and had a consultation with the head of the cancer department. But she felt very uncomfortable talking to that doctor, because the doctor gave her a lot of details that this is going to happen, that is going to happen. And Sapna just thought that, instead of giving her a comforting feeling, the doctor was trying to scare her as to what cancer is all about. So she comes home and says, I'm not going to go back to this doctor. I want to go somewhere else. So 3 days later, they were scheduled to go to Bade Mandir. And Shikha again comes to their house. And she comes and tells Sapna, like, if I give you something, will you take it? And Sapna said, yeah, why not? Like, just give me whatever you have. So Shikha, she opens her fist, which was, tightly closed. And she opens her fist, and she has a Guruji ka locket in her hand. So, and she tells Sapna, aap ye le lo. So Sapna just takes it, puts in her chain without asking any questions, although she did not know who that person was. कि वो किसकी picture है. It was a picture at that time, for her. So Shikha उसको बोलती है कि मेरे पास ये लॉकेट 1-1.5 साल से पड़ा है एंड एवरी डे आई थिंक कि मैं इसको आज पहनूंगी कल पहनूंगी बट आई नेवर गॉट टू वोर इट प्रॉबली इट वाज जस्ट मेंट फॉर यू. तो उसके बाद वो लोग बड़े मंदिर जाते हैं, दे कम बैक एंड आई it was just like an immediate connection with Guruji that Sapna had. It was probably Guruji's plan, of calling her to Bade Mandir, taking her in his charan. So a lot of events happen after that. Um, since she was not feeling comfortable going to back to that, cancer specialist in Delhi or Gurgaon, she called me and she said, "मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा मैं क्या करूं." So I told her I have a cousin in Bombay who's a gynecologist and her husband is a very, very renowned surgeon, although he's a gynecologist too. But he knows a lot of doctors there in Bombay, all the specialists. So I told Sapna, I said, why don't you consult him? And, you make plans to go to Bombay because you'll be in good hands there. So he can arrange everything for you. And she did that. And, they made all the plans that she'll be going to Bombay for the surgery and everything. But one day, my cousin, she messaged Sapna and says, um, we will be having a cancer specialist with us in the OT, but surgery to तुम्हारे जीजू ही करेंगे. So Sapna was like, a little taken aback कि cancer का मामला है, although he's a very, very renowned surgeon, but still he's a gynecologist. So Sapna again started feeling scared कि ऐसे कैसे होगा. So, and we were scheduled to fly like maybe after 15-20 days to India. अभी 15-20 दिन का time था. Sapna would keep telling me कि मैं बॉम्बे तब जाऊंगी जब तुम लोग दिल्ली पहुंच जाओगे. And I would keep telling her कि why are you delaying it, cancer is not something you should be taking so lightly, so you should go as early as possible. And she would keep telling me कि नहीं जब तुम आ जाओगे तब हम जाएंगे, हम लोग साथ में दिवाली करेंगे, हम लोग भाई दूज करेंगे. And I did not quite understand why she was just delaying the process, because she did not tell me that she wasn't feeling comfortable going to Bombay. तो ये सब इवेंट्स चलते रहे. इन द मीन टाइम सब प्लान हो गया बॉम्बे जाने का. बट देन since she had come into Guruji's charan, even I did not know about it because she did not speak to me anything about it कि वो बड़े मंदिर गई थी या कोई गुरुजी हैं. So in the meantime, there was still some time to go to Bombay. One of her another friends who is a neurologist, at Satsang Hospital in Delhi, she happened to go to a doctor's conference, and there she hears two doctors talking about a case of cancer, and then she tries to find out who the doctor is, and he happened to be head of the department cancer in AIMS. So she rushes to talk to that doctor और जाके उनको बोला कि मेरी एक friend जो है she has just been diagnosed with cancer and I think she needs your help. So the doctor tells her कि आप कल उनको लेके आ जाओ, which is a very, very rare phenomena for a big hospital like AIMS, because people, they don't even get appointments for like 6 months and year with the head of the departments there. So the next day, all three of them, like her doctor friend, Sapna and her husband, all three of them, they go to AIMS and they meet the doctor, and everything starts falling into place. The doctor confirms that yes, it's second stage breast cancer. She needs a surgery, and he calls his assistant and says कि आप लोग अपने phone numbers exchange करो, and the assistant will coordinate everything for you. You don't have to do anything. So the doctor's assistant helps her, make her patient card, helps her get her appointments, schedules her biopsy. Everything, is falling into place, and there is very, very minimal charge for everything. Although the big hospital that she had gone to, Gurugram, was giving her, a bill for lakhs of rupees, for the surgery and the biopsy. So Um, Now, the surgery is scheduled to be happen in AIMS. She gets this doctor who is a head of the department, and by the time we also reach Delhi, so I was just thinking that this is all a coincidence, since she knows her doctor friends and everything is happening because it's a coincidence that a doctor met somebody, and he happened to be a head of the department at AIMS. But hardly did I know that, because she was introduced to Guruji and she had come into Guruji's charan, so things were happening because of Guruji's will. Um, so once we get to Delhi, um, one day in the evening, my sister Sapna and her husband, they come to Vasant Kunj, and randomly, my brother-in-law says, "Didi, आप हमारे साथ बड़े मंदिर चलोगे आज?" And I did not know what बड़े मंदिर was. So I just thought कि कोई मंदिर होगा. तो I said, हाँ चलो जो भी मंदिर है चलेंगे. तो थोड़ी देर के बाद evening time we go to बड़े मंदिर, we start, and on the way he tells me, दीदी वहाँ पे ना चाय और लंगर मिलता है, वो आपको खाना पड़ेगा. So I said, I don't eat all these things because 5 years ago I was diagnosed with severe allergies with wheat and dairy. So I was totally off anything with wheat and dairy. And I told him, I said, तुमको मालूम ही है मैं खाती नहीं हूँ. तो वहाँ पे जो भी अगर कुछ fruit होगा तो I can eat, but otherwise, So he said, okay, देख लेंगे. तो मैंने भी कहा चलो ठीक है देख लेंगे. So we reached बड़े मंदिर, and then बहुत संगत है, बहुत रश है, thousands of people, बड़ी बड़ी लाइनें लगी हुई हैं मेन गेट के आगे. So we go and stand in line, one line for men, one for women. तो इतनी लंबी लाइन है, and as being the big sister, I started cribbing a little bit. I said, सपना ये कहाँ आ गई तू, यहाँ पे इतने सारे हजारों लोग हैं, कोई और इन्फेक्शन भी हो सकता है. तो she just kept quiet, and then she had a big shoulder bag on her shoulder. So I said, ये टेम्पल में इतना बड़ा बैग क्यों लेके आई है? So she takes out a brass lota, copper का लोटा, and says, मुझे ना ये लोटा ब्लेस करवाना है. So I was very surprised. I said कि ये पढ़ी लिखी लड़की को क्या हो गया है, ये लोटा लेके आ गई है मंदिर में और बोल रही है कि मुझे लोटा ब्लेस करवाना है. इसमें पानी डाल के पीते हैं ना तो ठीक हो जाते हैं. And I was like, when you're going through something like this, आपको लगता है कि कुछ भी करके ठीक हो सकते हैं. तो I just kept quiet and I was just thinking to myself कि जो भी कर रही है करने दो. But then I said to her one more time, I said कि ये इतनी लंबी लाइन में खड़े हैं, अभी इतनी देर लगेगी अंदर जाने पे. Why did you come here? So she just kept quiet, and I think just to avoid my rant, she said, मैं ना आगे जाके पूछ के आती हूँ कि हमें अंदर जाने दें कि क्या. I'll tell them कि I'm not well. So I said okay. So she, starts walking towards the main gate, and वहाँ पे पहुँची, and then 2 minutes later, like I see her waving at me कि तुम भी आ जाओ. So I also, broke the line में से निकल के, I also started walking towards her, and I went and stood there. There was तो बड़े मंदिर का एक, as far as I remember, because that was the only time I visited बड़े मंदिर, there's a big gate, big entrance gate, and then there's a small gate next to the बड़ा वाला gate, which is a narrow one. So वो गेट से भी थोड़ा सा हट के चेयर पे एक लेडी, she was sitting there, and Sapna was talking to her, and I just went and stood there quietly listening to their conversation. And सपना उसको बोल रही थी, आंटी मुझे ये लोटा ब्लेस करवाना है. तो that auntie said, तेरा लोटा तो नहीं ब्लेस होएगा. And she said, क्यों? तेनू लोड़ नहीं है. तो उसने कहा, आंटी मैं बीमार हूँ. कहती कुछ भी नहीं होया तेनू एवं. तो and I'm listening to all this and I'm thinking कि एक लड़की आपके सामने खड़ी है, हमें पता है कि उसको कैंसर है. How can you say कि तुम्हें कुछ भी नहीं है? Like we cannot just sit at home thinking कि आपको कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है. तो सपना अगेन सेड, नहीं आंटी, 2 दिन में मुझे कैंसर है, 2 दिन के बाद मेरी सर्जरी है. तो दैट आंटी सेज, ले उन सर्जरी का भी स्यापा पा लिया. तो आई एम वेरी सरप्राइज. मैंने कहा ये कहाँ आ गई है, you're telling somebody कि आपको कैंसर है और आप उसको बोल रहे हो कि सर्जरी का स्यापा डाल के बैठ गई. Like we cannot just be sitting at home thinking कि अपने आप सब ठीक हो जाएगा. तो anyways, and that auntie insisted कि नहीं तुम ये लोटा ना यहीं छोड़ के जाओ, तुम्हारा लोटा ब्लेस नहीं होगा. तो सपना ने बोला आंटी लोटा तो मुझे ले जाने दो क्योंकि बिकॉज आई वोंट बी कमिंग बैक द सेम वे फ्रॉम दिस गेट. तो लोटा ठीक है मैं अपने बैग में ही रख लेती हूँ. एंड वहाँ से निकल के हम लोग अंदर चले गए. तो अंदर जाने के बाद I think Sapna was like, very eager on getting that lota blessed. She really wanted to get it done. तो अंदर जाके when we were taking off our shoes and all, तो सपना ने मुझे बोला तुम लोग यहीं पे वेट करो. I'll go and look for some other सेवादार uncle and see, if I can get my lota blessed. I said okay. So I was just waiting for her there and she probably found some सेवादार uncle to talk to her. और उसने उनको बोला कि अंकल मुझे ये लोटा ब्लेस करवाना है. And he said the same thing. And he said, आपका लोटा तो ब्लेस नहीं होगा. उसने बोला क्यों? बोलते कि नहीं आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है. जो लोग क्रिटिकली इल होते हैं ना उनका ही लोटा ब्लेस होता है. तो उसने बोला अंकल मैं बीमार हूँ. तो बोले नहीं नहीं आपका लोटा नहीं ब्लेस हो सकता. तो नाउ सपना शी गेट्स अ लिटिल इरिटेटेड और बोली कि अंकल आप भी यही बोल रहे हो. बाहर जो गेट पे आंटी बैठी थी वो भी यही बोल रही थी. तो सबका लोटा ब्लेस होता है मेरा क्यों नहीं होगा. तो जैसे ही उसने बोला कि बाहर गेट पे जो आंटी बैठी हुई थी तो दैट अंकल सेज आंटी वो बाहर गेट पे कौन सी आंटी बैठी हुई थी. बाहर मेन गेट पे तो कोई भी आंटीज की सेवा नहीं होती है. इट्स ऑलवेज द अंकल्स हु हैव सेवा ऑन द मेन गेट. और वहां पे बैठने के लिए चेयर भी नहीं होती. कभी ऑल द सेवादार्स हु आर एट द मेन गेट वो खड़े रहते हैं हमेशा. वहां पे कोई चेयर नहीं होती है बैठने के लिए. एंड ही सेड आप मुझे पूरी कॉन्वर्सेशन बताओ कि उन्होंने आपको क्या बोला. तो सपना ने वो पूरा नरेट कर दिया जो आंटी के साथ कॉन्वर्सेशन हुआ था. एंड ही सेड कि आप जो बोल रहे हो वो गुरुजी की लैंग्वेज है. दैट इज हाउ गुरुजी यूज्ड टू टॉक. सो probably that was गुरुजी टेलिंग हर कि आपको कुछ भी नहीं है और सर्जरी की जरूरत नहीं है एंड whatever, but I did not know anything about it. वो सपना आई एंड वी स्टार्टेड वॉकिंग फॉरवर्ड. उसने मुझे नहीं बताया कि सेवादार के साथ क्या बात हुई है. एंड प्रॉबेबली आई थिंक एट द बैक ऑफ हर माइंड शी न्यू कि दिस वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम आई वाज कमिंग टू बड़े मंदिर. आई डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट गुरुजी. आई डोंट नो हु ही इज. तो अगर वो मुझे कुछ बताएगी भी तो आई वोंट बिलीव हर. बट एनीवेज वी स्टार्टेड वॉकिंग. पूरी मंदिर की पूरे मंदिर में गए. We went to his samadhi and I could not really figure out कि किसकी समाधि है, किसकी मजार है, क्या है. लोग आते हैं बड़े ही श्रद्धा से मत्था टेक रहे हैं. I remember I was standing in one corner and looking everybody कि लोग क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे. तो finally we come out and दरबार में गए बड़े हॉल में. तो वहाँ पे देखा कि गुरुजी का स्वरूप लगा हुआ है which was a picture for me at that time. और वहाँ पे भी बड़ी श्रद्धा से लोग बैठे हुए हैं. We sat there for like 8 to 10 minutes I guess. तो मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आया कि ये कौन है और इनकी क्या मानता है. तो वो सब हो गया. And when we were coming out of the temple, I asked my brother-in-law. I said ये गुरुजी जिनकी फोटो लगी है अंदर ये गुरुजी कहाँ पे हैं. Although I had been to the samadhi, but I could not just figure out कि समाधि किसकी है क्या है. तो my brother-in-law said दीदी उन्होंने समाधि ले ली. तो I said what is that? वो क्या होता है. तो he said आप ना YouTube में जाके देखना. Okay. आप YouTube में जाके देखना. आपको बहुत सारी गुरुजी के बारे में आपके जितने भी क्वेश्चंस हैं ना आपको उनका आंसर मिलेगा. तो आई सेड ओके. उसके बाद वो बात आई गई हो गई. मैंने भी कुछ मतलब आई डिड नॉट रियली फील एनीथिंग आफ्टर गोइंग टू द टेम्पल. हम लोग वापस आ गए. 2 दिन के बाद सर्जरी स्केड्यूल थी. तो सर्जरी के लिए 2 दिन पहले एडमिशन हुआ एम्स में. एंड टू माई सरप्राइज इन अ हॉस्पिटल लाइक एम्स शी वॉज अलॉटेड अ बिग VIP room, with 2 beds, with a sofa, with a TV, with an attached bathroom. And because I did not know anything what was going on, I just thought it was another coincidence. So I think that was also, Guruji just doing everything. So the day before the surgery, the previous night, जैसे next morning surgery है, तो pre-op जो tests होते हैं, उसका result आया, and report के ऊपर लिखा हुआ है, thyroid numbers are not looking good, no surgery tomorrow. So my brother-in-law was really, in shock कि 2 दिन से हम लोग हॉस्पिटल में बैठे हैं, कल मॉर्निंग में सर्जरी है और रात को 8 बजे रिपोर्ट आ रही है, नो सर्जरी टुमारो. So he rushes downstairs, on the second floor to see कि उसके डॉक्टर शायद मिल जाएंगे तो मैं उनसे पूछूंगा. And luckily he finds the doctor just leaving his office. तो वो उनको बोलता है डॉक्टर रिपोर्ट पे लिखा है कि नो सर्जरी टुमारो एंड आप बता दीजिए. तो सर्जन जो है वो उसको बोलते हैं कि ये देखना आपका काम नहीं है, ये देखना मेरा काम है, सर्जरी होगी कि नहीं. तो अरविंद अगेन सेज कि नहीं डॉक्टर, इसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ है कि थायराइड नंबर्स आर नॉट गुड. तो उसने बोला मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ ना, ये देखना मेरा काम है. And the surgeon, he calls the endocrinologist at that very moment and says, आपने रिपोर्ट पे कैसे लिख दिया कि कल सर्जरी नहीं होगी, तो आप दूसरी रिपोर्ट बना के भेजो और सर्जरी तो कल ही होगी. सो वो भी हो गया. दूसरी रिपोर्ट आती है नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग, सर्जरी स्केड्यूल्ड है फॉर 7 o'clock. I was there at 6 o'clock, and when Sapna was getting dressed, I tell her कि अपनी prayer कर लो, हनुमान जी का नाम ले लो. And she started looking at the wall. So I tell her, I said, दीवार की तरफ क्या दिख रही है? तो then I just, kind of peeped in and I see गुरुजी का एक छोटा सा स्वरूप दीवार पे उसने लगाया हुआ है. तो मैंने बोला ये क्या, किसकी तरफ देख रही है तू? And she just kept quiet. She did not answer, because she was so connected with Guruji and I did not know anything what was going on. So finally she was being taken to the OT, and her friend Shikha, who had originally introduced or given her the Guruji's locket, she was at her home at that time doing mantra jap, and she saw Guruji walking with her bed through the corridor, and that Guruji was walking with her bed, when she was being taken into the OT. And as soon as Sapna enters the OT, she sees Guruji standing there, and he comes to her bedside and says कि तू डर क्यों रही है, तेरी सर्जरी तो मैं ही करने वाला हूँ. And Sapna was put to sleep. उसके बाद सर्जरी हो गई successfully, everything went well. And about 15 days later, there was a panel of doctors who again discussed her case. And they came to a conclusion that she would not need any chemotherapy or radiation or whatsoever. She was just put on some oral medications. So, and her follow-up with the doctors was in March of 2020, which never happened because the pandemic had started. AIMS was a big COVID center. So, she finally got to go for her follow-up in 2021, and all her reports were normal. So, if now when I look back, it was very, later, at a later period of time that I got to know eventually of all these events. When I started getting connected with Guruji, Sapna started narrating all these events to me. So connecting all the dots, I feel that going to India for Diwali, it wasn't our plan. I think it was Guruji's plan, because he wanted to call us in his darbar, in his charan, and take care of everything. So, Jai Guruji, बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji that he gave a new lease of life to his younger daughter Sapna, and of course my younger sister. So all I can say is Anantam Anantam Shukrana Guruji, that all the love that he gives to his Sangha. And he does everything unconditionally. Like, I don't think Guruji ever expects anything from us. So, bahut bahut shukrana Guruji. So this was just part 1 of my satsang, and part 2 will be about my allergies and how Guruji cured me. So that will be for